Snow White awoke to an unexpected stillness, the morning sun streaming through the fragile branches of the forest canopy. She blinked against the soft light, a feeling of warmth washing over her despite the daunting memories from the night before. The whispered warnings of her dreams echoed in her mind, a reminder of the Queen's dark heart and her relentless pursuit. Drawing a deep breath, she sat up, her white skin glowing softly against the earthy tones of the forest floor, a stark contrast to the wildness surrounding her. With the promise of a new day, Snow White felt a flicker of hope stir within her. She was not alone. The dwarfs had taken her into their hearts and home, and she clung to the belief that together they could outsmart the Queen. The gentle rustling of leaves overhead seemed to echo her resolve, encouraging her to rise and embrace the day. As she moved toward the little cottage they shared, the vibrant hues of the forest came alive. Birds flitted between branches, their songs weaving a tapestry of joy, while the sun sprinkled golden dust upon the lush greenery. Each step brought a sense of purpose, the path familiar now, almost as if the woods themselves were guiding her. She peeked inside, greeted by the comforting aroma of breakfast. The dwarfs were bustling about, each absorbed in their morning rituals. "Good morning, dear Snow White," chirped Doc, the leader, his spectacles perched precariously on his nose. "We've been waiting for you. Come, join us, before we set out to gather more mushrooms and herbs." Happy, with his infectious laughter, busied himself at the table, while Grumpy gruffed good-naturedly about the mess. "You'd think we could manage a breakfast without a princess fussing over us," he muttered, though his eyes sparkled with mischief. As Snow White took a seat, she felt a warmth in her heart, surrounded by their cheerful bickering. It was a stark contrast to the cold solitude of the castle. Each dwarf brought a new color to her life, painting over the shadows the Queen had cast. And yet, a lingering worry nagged at the edges of her mind like a fading echo. The Queen's obsession with her beauty was insatiable, and she knew that as long as she drew breath, danger lurked just beyond the trees. After breakfast, the dwarfs set off, their laughter trailing behind them like a gentle breeze, leaving Snow White to tend to the garden. She knelt among the fragrant blooms, her fingers gently coaxing weeds from their roots, allowing the flowers to bask in the sun's embrace. Suddenly, a movement caught her eye from the corner of the garden. A flash of white and gold darted between the bushes, elusive as a whisper. Curiosity piqued, she stood and followed the quick figure, heart racing with anticipation. As she turned a corner, she stumbled upon the most stunning sight, a small, shimmering creature perched on a blossoming branch. It was a fairy, her wings delicate and translucent, flickering in the sunlight, like spun sugar. Snow White held her breath, enchanted by the ethereal beauty before her. The fairy turned, her eyes sparkling like emeralds. "Do not fear, dear child," she spoke, her voice a melody of chimes and whispers. "I have come to guide you, for your heart is pure, and your spirit shines like the brightest star." "What do you mean?" Snow White asked, her voice a mere whisper. "The evil Queen's curse is stronger than you know," the fairy explained, hovering closer. "But within you lies a power, one that can awaken those who have been lost to darkness. You must seek the source of your strength, for only then can you protect those you love." Snow White's heart fluttered with both excitement and fear. "But how can I harness such power? I am just a girl lost in a world of shadows." "You are more than you believe," the fairy said, her voice wrapping around Snow White like a comforting blanket. "Follow the path to the elder tree, the oldest in the forest. There you will find the answers you seek, as well as the strength to face the darkness that threatens to consume you." With a wave of her tiny hand, the fairy gestured towards a narrow trail that twisted through the trees, leading deeper into the heart of the forest. Snow White hesitated, her instincts battling between the comfort of familiarity and the thrill of adventure. But deep down, she knew that the time had come to confront her fate. "Thank you," she whispered, determination flooding her veins. With a final glance at the fairy, she stepped onto the path. The weight of her decision nestled in her heart. As she journeyed deeper into the woods, the trees grew taller and the air thicker with enchantment. Shadows danced playfully, and strange sounds echoed, teasing her senses. The path was winding and steep, but with each step, she felt the pulse of the forest, urging her forward. After what felt like hours, she reached a clearing dominated by the magnificent elder tree. Its bark was gnarled and ancient, the branches stretching toward the sky as if trying to touch the very heavens. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ground. Snow White approached with reverence, placing her hand against the rough bark. She could feel a heartbeat within, a rhythm that resonated with her own. As she closed her eyes, the world around her faded. A whisper of wind rustled through the leaves, carrying with it the echoes of ancient secrets. The spirit of the forest spoke to her, urging her to listen closely. In that moment of stillness, she understood. Her journey was not just to escape the darkness, but to embrace the light within her. With newfound resolve, Snow White took a deep breath, ready to uncover the magic that lay dormant, waiting to be awakened. A surge of energy coursed through Snow White as she pressed her palm against the elder tree. The whispers grew louder, forming a sweet melody that wrapped around her heart, weaving a tapestry of hope and courage. She opened her eyes, gazing up into the thick canopy above. There, amidst the leaves, glimmered a light that felt familiar, as if it had called to her from the depths of her soul. "Speak, child of the earth," the tree intoned, its voice deep and resonant, echoing with the wisdom of centuries. "What is it you seek?" "I seek to understand my fate," he replied, her voice steady. "I wish to confront the darkness that looms over my life, to uncover the truth of who I am." The elder tree's bark creaked as it shifted slightly, revealing a hollow at its base. From within, a soft glow emanated, illuminating the clearing with a warm golden light. "Within lies the answer," it said, "but beware, for truth can be both a gift and a curse. You must be prepared to face the shadows of your own heart." With a trembling hand, Snow White reached toward the glowing hollow. As her fingers brushed the edge, visions flooded her mind, fragments of memories she had long buried. She saw glimmers of laughter shared with her mother, the warmth of her father's embrace, and the chilling moments of loss when the world around her had crumbled. Each memory tugged at her heart, a reminder of the love that had once enveloped her. But there were also darker images, figures cloaked in shadows, the sinister laughter of the queen, and the binding chains of fear that sought to hold her back. Snow White gasped, pulling her hand back as if burned. "What are these visions? Why do they haunt me?" "They are the remnants of your past," the elder tree replied, its voice soothing yet firm. "To confront your destiny, you must first confront the pain that has shaped you. Only through understanding can you break free from the chains that bind you." Taking a deep breath, Snow White steeled herself. "I am not afraid. I will face them." With renewed courage, she leaned into the hollow, fully embracing the light that poured forth. The warmth enveloped her like a cocoon, and in that moment she found herself swept away into a vibrant realm of memories. Colors swirled around her as she was transported to the moment of her mother's last embrace, a memory laced with both love and sorrow. "Remember, Snow White," her mother's voice echoed through time, gentle and melodic. "You are never alone. Love is a force that can bridge any chasm." Tears brimmed in Snow White's eyes as she felt the truth of her mother's words. The weight of despair that had clung to her began to lift. "I am loved," she whispered, allowing the warmth of that love to fill her heart. But suddenly, the scene shifted. Darkness crept in, shadows snaking around her. "Foolish girl," hissed the voice of the queen, chilling and sharp. "You think your mother's love can save you? It is your weakness, not your strength." Snow White stood tall against the encroaching darkness. "No, my mother's love is my strength. It is a light that can pierce even the deepest shadows." With that affirmation, she envisioned the light expanding from her heart, growing brighter and more powerful. The shadows recoiled, hissing in anger, but she pressed on, fueled by the resolve that had ignited within her. She was not merely a victim of her past, she was the architect of her future, and she would not be defined by fear. As the light pushed back the shadows, Snow White felt the elder tree's presence beside her, its roots intertwining with hers, anchoring her to the earth. "You have awakened the magic within you," it whispered, pride echoing in its voice. "Now, you must use it wisely. The path ahead will not be easy, but with love guiding you, the darkness will falter." Snow White opened her eyes, the clearing bright with illumination. She stood before the elder tree, feeling the weight of her journey ahead. She was ready to embrace her destiny, to seek the truth not only about the darkness that threatened her, but also about the love that could conquer it. The wind whispered through the leaves, a reminder that the forest was alive, watching and waiting. With a determined heart, she turned back toward the path, each step resonating with purpose. The shadows might lurk around her, but now she carried the light of love within her, igniting hope in the face of despair. The adventure was far from over, and her story was just beginning. As Snow White ventured deeper into the forest, the air shimmered with anticipation. Sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, casting playful shadows that danced like spirits whispering secrets. The sounds of nature enveloped her. The chirping of birds mingled with the rustle of leaves, creating a symphony that urged her forward. She could feel the forest's heartbeat, a pulsing rhythm that synchronized with her own, guiding her to an unknown destination. In the distance, she caught sight of a small glade, the trees opening like arms to embrace her. As she approached, the ground beneath her feet gave way to soft, mossy earth, and vibrant wildflowers dotted the landscape, their colors more vivid than any she had seen before. Entranced, Snow White knelt to breathe in their sweet scent, a bouquet of warmth and freshness filling her lungs. "Welcome, dear child," a voice sang, light and airy as a summer breeze. Startled, Snow White looked up to find a woman standing beneath a sprawling oak tree. Draped in garments made of petals and leaves, the woman radiated a glow that rivaled the sun. Her hair flowed like cascading ribbons of autumn, and her eyes sparkled with the wisdom of ages. "Who are you?" Snow White asked, breathless with wonder. "I am Flora, guardian of the glade," the woman replied, her smile illuminating the space around them. "I have watched over this realm for centuries, protecting its magic, and you, brave girl, possess a spark that ignites the very essence of our home." Snow White felt a flutter of excitement and trepidation. "But I am just a girl. How can I possibly protect anything?" Flora stepped closer, her gaze steady and reassuring. "It is your heart that holds the power, dear Snow White. The love you carry is the key to unlocking the enchantments of this forest. But heed my words. Darkness is cunning, and it seeks to extinguish the light within you. You must learn to wield your magic, for the Queen's shadow looms ever closer." With a graceful wave of her hand, Flora summoned a swirl of petals that danced around them, forming intricate shapes in the air. These flowers are the guardians of love. Each petal represents a bond of affection, family, friendship, and bravery. She plucked one from the air, offering it to Snow White. "Take this, and let it remind you of your strength. You will need it as you face the trials ahead." Snow White accepted the delicate petal, feeling its warmth pulse against her palm. "What must I do?" "You must journey to the enchanted lake," Flora instructed, her tone turning serious. "There, you will confront the Queen's magic and uncover the truth of her darkness. Only by understanding your own heart can you hope to break her spell and save those who suffer under her reign." Images of her father and the gentle creatures of the forest filled Snow White's mind, igniting her determination. "I will do it. I will face the Queen and uncover the truth." "Remember," Flora advised, her voice soft but firm, "love is not only a light but a shield. Let it guide you, and do not be afraid to embrace your vulnerabilities. They are as vital as your strengths." As Snow White stood to leave, a sound like a distant echo caught her attention. It was a harmonious melody, weaving through the trees, pulling at her heartstrings. "What is that song?" she asked, turning to Flora. "That is the Song of the Lost," Flora explained, her eyes shimmering with memory. "It is a lament sung by those who have wandered too far from love. It beckons to the weary and the broken-hearted, offering both solace and warning." The melody twisted in the air, both haunting and beautiful. Snow White's heart ached at the thought of those lost in despair. "Can I help them?" she asked, burning with a desire to heal the pain of others. "You must first help yourself, dear one," Flora replied gently. "Your journey will unveil the way. Follow the song, and trust in the bonds of love that you carry." With renewed purpose, Snow White stepped away from the glade, the petal clutched tightly in her hand. The melody grew clearer, wrapping around her like a comforting embrace as she set forth toward the enchanted lake, each step a promise to herself and to those who had lost their way. The forest shifted around her, the shadows whispering secrets, yet now they felt less threatening. She was not alone. The love of her mother, coupled with the wisdom of Flora, illuminated her path. Snow White's heart quivered with anticipation of the trials to come, for within her lay a strength that would illuminate even the darkest corners of the world. As Snow White walked deeper into the woods, the lush foliage parted to reveal a shimmering expanse. The enchanted lake lay before her, its waters sparkling under the dappled sunlight filtering through the leafy canopy. The melody of the Song of the Lost grew louder, echoing across the surface like ripples, and she could feel the pulse of yearning in the air, a symphony of hearts seeking solace. Stepping closer to the lake's edge, she knelt down, the cool grass tickling her fingertips. The water reflected her image, Yet something was different. In the shimmering depths, she saw not just herself, but the shadows of sorrowful souls flickering in and out like fading stars. Each visage told a story, their eyes filled with longing for a love that had been misplaced or forgotten. "Great spirits of the lost," she whispered, her voice trembling with empathy, "I wish to help you find your way home." In that moment, the waters of the lake began to swirl, revealing a path of glimmering stones leading into the depths. Snow White's heart raced, but she steadied herself, taking a deep breath. She had promised to embrace her vulnerabilities, and perhaps this was the invitation she needed. With each step onto the glistening stones, the song transformed. It became a chorus of voices, each note resonating with the essence of the souls that beckoned her. "Help us, dear one," they sang, weaving their sorrow into hope. "Guide us from the shadows, and we shall light your way." Snow White's resolve fortified, she pressed on until the last step brought her to the water's edge, where the lake's depths sparkled with a golden hue. The moment her feet touched the surface, the water rippled outward, and the shapes of the lost began to emerge, forming a circle around her, each figure uniquely adorned with fragments of light and darkness that told tales of their lives. One figure stepped forward, a young woman with eyes as deep as the ocean. "I'm Seraphina," she said, her voice soft yet powerful. "I lost my way through despair, and in my sorrow I wandered far from my true self. I am but one of many, and our hearts cry for connection. I will help you find that connection," Snow White vowed, her voice filled with a strength she had not fully realized she possessed. "But first, I must understand the weight of your sorrow. What binds you here?" The surrounding figures flickered, their pain palpable. "Each of us carries a burden, a memory of love unfulfilled, or a wound that never healed," Seraphina continued, her gaze unwavering. "We are trapped by our own fears, unable to move forward." With a spark of inspiration, Snow White knelt and placed her hand over her heart, closing her eyes. "Let me share my light," she whispered. "Let the love I hold within break the chains of despair." And as her words flowed, a warm glow radiated from her, bathing the figures in a golden light that flickered with the essence of hope. For a moment, silence enveloped them, and the air shimmered with magic. The lost souls began to sway, their burdens lifting as they absorbed the warmth of her love. The melody shifted, transforming from a mournful lament to a harmonious celebration. Yet just as the power of connection began to swell, a sudden chill swept across the lake. The serene waters darkened, and a shadowy figure emerged from the depths, a specter clad in swirling mists, its eyes burning like embers in the night. "What foolishness is this?" it hissed, its voice echoing through the air. "You think you can summon light in the realm of shadows?" Startled, Snow White stood her ground, heart racing against the rhythm of her fear. "I will not let you shatter this bond," she declared, feeling Flora's wisdom guide her. "Love is stronger than any darkness you wield." The specter laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down her spine. "Then let us see how strong your love truly is. Face the truth of your heart and the shadows that dwell within." With those words, the shadows around her grew heavier, wrapping her in a suffocating embrace. Snow White felt the weight of her own fears, the specter probing at her vulnerabilities, drawing forth memories of loss and doubt. Yet, amid the darkness, she clutched the petal Flora had given her, its sweetness a reminder of love's ever-present warmth. "Even in darkness, I choose to believe," she shouted, her voice steady and fierce. "I will not let you define me. I will fight for those who cannot." With renewed vigor, Snow White focused on the shimmering souls surrounding her, their gazes filled with encouragement. As she drew strength from their faith, the shadows receded slightly, revealing glimmers of light that pierced the veil of despair. "I will stand tall against the shadows, and together we will shine," she proclaimed, her heart swelling with determination. The specter recoiled, its form flickering as if the very essence of fear was being challenged. And in that moment, as the battle between light and darkness raged, Snow White understood a profound truth. True strength lay not just in the fight against shadows, but in the love that wove them together, a bond that could transcend even the darkest night. With that realization igniting within her chest, Snow White summoned the memories of those she loved, the laughter of her friends, the warmth of her family, and the gentle caress of Flora's petals against her skin. Each recollection swirled around her, a kaleidoscope of vivid emotions that began to illuminate the shadows like tiny sparks of fireflies in a moonlit glade. "Remember your hearts!" she called to the souls surrounding her, their forms flickering like candle flames. "Our Connections are the threads that bind us. Let them shine bright. As if responding to her call, the spirits glowed with renewed light, their collective energy weaving a tapestry of warmth that enveloped Snow White. The specter snarled, its form contorting in pain, as the light pressed against the darkness like dawn breaking over the horizon. "Foolish girl!" it spat, its voice now a hiss of desperation. "You cannot hope to withstand the weight of your fears forever. They will consume you." But Snow White stood resolute, confidence unfurling within her, like the petals of Flora's gift. Each heartbeat pulsed with the strength of her resolve. "I will not be consumed, for my love is a beacon that guides me. I acknowledge my fears, but I will not let them dictate my worth." With that declaration, she stretched her hands toward the encroaching darkness, summoning the light that surged from her heart. It flowed outward like a river of golden warmth, casting shadows aside as it illuminated the path before her. The specter writhed, its form dissipating into tendrils of mist, shrieking in fury and anguish. "You think this is over? The shadows will return, and they will drag you into despair." "Maybe the shadows will come again," she answered, her voice now a melody of conviction. "But I will not walk alone. The love I carry will always bring light, even in the darkest of times." With a final burst of energy, she pushed the light forward, and in that instant, the specter shattered into 1,000 fleeting fragments, each one echoing a scream of defeat. The darkness that had once enveloped the lake began to retreat, revealing the tranquil waters now shimmering with a silver glow beneath the moonlight. As the spirits twinkled joyfully around her, Snow White felt a wave of relief wash over her. She knew deep within her heart that the battle had been won, but this was merely a chapter in her journey. The specter may have been vanquished for now, but the echoes of its threat lingered in the corners of her mind. Turning her gaze back to the shimmering lake, she spotted Flora's spirit emerging from the water's surface, bathed in a warm, golden light. "You have proven your strength, dear Snow White," Flora said, her voice soft yet powerful. "But remember, with love comes the responsibility to nurture it. The shadows may return, but so too shall the light if you tend to what truly matters." With a nod, Snow White felt her spirit resonate with those words. Love was a garden, one that required care and attention, and she was ready to nurture it with all her might. "I will cherish and protect it, Flora," he promised, determination etched across her features. As the first light of dawn began to paint the sky in hues of blush and gold, Snow White turned back toward her companions, the woodland creatures who had stood by her side, and the souls whose light had aided her in this dark hour. Their faces shone with admiration and gratitude, a reminder of how far they had all come together. "Let us celebrate this victory," she announced, her heart beating with the rhythm of newfound hope. "We shall gather the flowers of the forest and weave a crown of joy. Let it remind us that even in the darkest times, love prevails." Creatures chirped and chattered excitedly, their spirits lifted by her words. As they began to collect vibrant blossoms from the nearby meadows, laughter filled the air, mingling with the sweet song of morning birds. Each flower they gathered seemed to hum with the promise of a brighter future, a testament to their enduring bond. But hidden in the shadows of the trees, a pair of eyes watched closely. The specter's remnants had not been entirely vanquished. A swirling mist lingered, bitter and vengeful, plotting its return. Darkness would always seek a way back, but for now, Snow White and her friends basked in the glow of their triumph, unaware that new challenges awaited just beyond the horizon. As they crafted the crown, each petal became a symbol of their love and resilience, a radiant reminder that together they could face whatever storm may come. The sun rose higher, its rays breaking through the ebb clouds as if to bless their newfound hope. In this moment they felt invincible, a family forged in the fires of adversity, ready to embrace whatever adventures lay ahead. As the crown took shape, the air shimmered with enchantment, and each creature contributed its unique magic to the creation. Bluebirds brought in shades of cerulean, the squirrels scurried with hues of rich russet, and the delicate butterflies fluttered down with touches of lavender and gold. Snow White, amidst the flurry of activity, smiled at their camaraderie, her heart swelling with joy. It was a moment of pure connection, a testament to their unity against the shadows of the past. Once the crown was complete, they placed it delicately upon Snow White's head. In that instant, a soft glow enveloped her, a gentle reminder of the love that surrounded her. "This crown signifies our bond," she proclaimed, her voice steady and warm. "Not just on this day, but in every moment we cherish together. The creatures cheered, their jubilant sounds echoing through the trees, filling the forest with a melody of hope. Yet as sunlight danced through the leaves, the lingering mist in the shadows quivered restlessly. With a hiss that blended with the rustling of the branches, it whispered words of malice. They think they are safe. They think their joy is eternal. But darkness knows no bounds. Unbeknownst to Snow White and her friends, the mischief was already afoot. In the heart of the forest, where the mist thickened, sat a gnarled old tree, twisted with age and burdened by forgotten sorrows. It was here that the remnants of the dark specter gathered, coalescing into a figure that flickered in and out of reality like a fading dream. "Awaken, my shadows," it crooned, voice a silken thread of temptation. "The time for retribution is upon us. Bring forth the curse anew, and let their happiness shatter like fragile glass." The air thickened with treachery as dark tendrils reached out toward the light, craving to choke the joy that flourished beyond their grasp. Meanwhile, Snow White and her friends had begun their next adventure. With the crown perched proudly atop her head, Snow White felt an undeniable urge to explore further into the enchanted forest. "Let us see what wonders await us beyond the glade," she suggested, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. The creatures exchanged excited glances, their eagerness infectious as they followed her lead. As they ventured deeper, the woods transformed around them. Ancient trees loomed like sentinels, their gnarled branches weaving a tapestry above that filtered the sunlight into ethereal beams. Flowers of every imaginable hue carpeted the ground, and the scent of pine mingled with the sweetness of blooming honeysuckle. Every step felt like a dance, and they reveled in the beauty that surrounded them. But as laughter echoed, a low rumble rolled through the forest, causing the leaves to tremble. The ground beneath them quaked slightly, and a rush of cold air swept past, chilling the warmth of their joy. Snow White turned, sensing an unfamiliar presence. "Did you feel that?" she asked, her brow furrowing with concern. The woodland creatures fell silent, ears perked and eyes wide, scanning the thicket. "Perhaps it is merely the wind," a timid rabbit suggested, though uncertainty glimmered in his voice. Yet Snow White's heart urged her to be cautious. "We must stay alert, my friends. The shadows may still be lurking." As they pressed on, the forest grew denser and the atmosphere thickened with an unmistakable tension. Somewhere in the distance, a soft sound echoed like the chime of a distant bell, both inviting and ominous. "What could that be?" Snow White wondered aloud, her voice laced with both intrigue and trepidation. "Let us find out," exclaimed a brave little squirrel, climbing onto a nearby branch for a better view. "Adventure calls, and so must we." His enthusiasm ignited a spark in the others, and one by one they nodded, the spirit of exploration igniting their hearts anew. As they journeyed toward the source of the sound, the shadows began to shift around them, and the air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. With each step, Snow White felt the weight of destiny pressing upon her, an invisible thread pulling her toward an unknown fate. And just as they reached the edge of a clearing, a forgotten relic of magic lay before them. An ancient bell, its surface adorned with intricate carvings of mythical creatures and celestial bodies. Before they could fully grasp its significance, a gust of wind whipped through the trees, carrying with it a haunting whisper. "Awaken the echoes of the past and let your choices forge tomorrow." In that moment, Snow White realized that their journey had only just begun, and the bell, with its echoing call, was both a warning and an invitation, a challenge that would test their bonds and lead them into the depths of their greatest adventure yet. A hush fell over the clearing as the sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ancient bell. Snow White stepped closer, her pulse quickening with both fear and fascination. The carvings seemed to shimmer with life, as if the mythical creatures were just waiting for someone brave enough to awaken them. Her heart thudded in her chest. What secrets lay within this forgotten artifact? The little squirrel, emboldened by the moment, scampered down, eyes gleaming with excitement. "What do you think it does? Perhaps it summons the spirits of the forest," he chirped, his tail flicking with anticipation. "Or maybe it holds the key to a hidden treasure," ventured a cautious deer who had crept forward at the edge of the shadows. The idea hung in the air, luring both the brave and the fearful. "Whatever it may be," Snow White said, her voice steady despite the uncertainty coursing through her, "we should tread carefully. Magic has a way of revealing itself." Unexpectedly, with a deep breath, he reached out to touch the cool, ornate surface of the bell. As her fingers grazed its intricate designs, a soft glow erupted from within, illuminating the clearing and bathing her companions in a warm, golden light. The gentle hum of the bell resonated through the air, vibrating with a melody that echoed deep within their hearts. Suddenly, a vision flickered before them, a scene unfurling in the air like a tapestry woven from dreams. They saw a time long before where flowers bloomed in colors brighter than any rainbow, and creatures of all kinds danced freely under a sky that sparkled with stars. But the image twisted, revealing dark clouds rolling in, shadows creeping over the land, and a figure cloaked in malice, casting a pall over the joyous world. "Who is that?" whispered a small hedgehog, peering closer. The darkness seemed to pulse, and Snow White felt a chill run down her spine as recognition flickered in her mind. "It is the witch," she breathed, her resolve hardening. "The one who cast the curse upon me." Just then, the image shifted again, this time revealing a path, a hidden trail winding through the forest, flanked by ancient trees whose branches swayed as if beckoning. The air shimmered with possibilities, as if the forest itself was inviting them to embark on a quest. "Look!" a curious fox pointed, his sharp eyes glinting with excitement. "There is something at the end of that path." Snow White's gaze followed the direction, her heart racing at the thought of discovering what lay beyond the trees. "It could be a chance to break the curse," she said, determination flooding her voice. "We must follow that path." "Then let us go," rallied the little squirrel, bouncing with enthusiasm. The woodland creatures now, buzzing with a mix of hope and adventure, gathered around her, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. As they set off down the path, the bell's echoing chime faded behind them, replaced by the sounds of their own footsteps and the whispers of the forest. Snow White felt an unshakable bond forming between her and her friends, each step solidifying their shared purpose. The trees loomed above, their trunks gnarled and wise, silently guiding them through the tangled undergrowth. But as they ventured deeper into the woods, the shadows began to stretch once more, thickening with an unsettling presence. A shiver ran through the air, and an unseen force seemed to watch them from the darkness beyond the light. Suddenly, a low growl emanated from the thicket, rumbling like distant thunder. The woodland creatures halted, eyes wide with fear, and Snow White felt her breath catch. "Stay close!" she urged, heart pounding as they formed a protective circle around each other. From the shadows emerged a figure cloaked in darkness, tall and menacing, with eyes that gleamed like polished stones. "Foolish little ones," the figure hissed, voice dripping with disdain. "You dare seek what is beyond your grasp?" Snow White stepped forward, her heart racing with the power of bravery igniting within her. "We seek to reclaim the light," she declared, lifting her chin defiantly. "We will not be deterred by your shadows." The figure laughed, a sound like brittle leaves crumbling underfoot. "Then let the trials begin. Only the pure of heart may pass. But beware, for treachery lurks in the hearts of even the most innocent." A chilling wind swept through the clearing, and the world around them began to shimmer with enchantment. Snow White's voice rang out, a song of hope and determination, as she and her friends prepared to face whatever challenges awaited them. With hearts united and spirits aflame, they took a collective breath, ready to forge ahead into the unknown, where echoes of the past would shape their future, and love would light their way. As the air shimmered with magic, the ground beneath their feet transformed, revealing two winding paths, one paved with radiant golden leaves that sparkled like starlight, and the other draped in shadows, cloaked in a thick mist that seemed to breathe with a life of its own. The figure watched, a smug smile curling at the edges of its lips as if savoring the moment. "Choose wisely, little one," it taunted, "for each path leads to a different destiny. The golden path may seem bright, but it is fraught with illusions. The shadowy path, though daunting, may hold the key to the truth." Snow White's heart raced, caught in the pull of both paths. She glanced at her friends. Each one's face was a mirror of uncertainty, yet beneath it glimmered a glint of resolve. With a gentle squeeze of her hand, she breathed deeply, summoning the courage she felt growing in her chest. "We must trust ourselves and each other," she said softly, her voice steady. "Let us not be swayed by fear." The woodland creatures looked to her, their eyes wide with trust. The timid doe, with her large, expressive eyes, stepped forward. "The golden path may shine brightly, but I fear it may lead us astray," she murmured, her voice quivering. "I have heard tales of those who followed its glitter only to find themselves lost in a dream that turned to nightmare." A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. The wise old owl, always the voice of reason, hooted softly. Darkness can reveal truths, dear Snow White, that light may obscure. It is in the shadows that we often find our greatest strength. Snow White weighed their words, feeling the weight of her decision hovering over her. She turned to face the figure cloaked in darkness. "We will choose the path of shadows," he declared, conviction pouring from her heart like the streams that danced in the forest. "We will seek the truth, no matter how daunting the journey may be." With a flick of its wrist, the figure stepped aside, a sly grin playing on its lips as it gestured toward the path shrouded in mist. "Brave indeed, but heed my warning. The road ahead will test your bonds and your resolve." Without another moment's hesitation, Snow White led her friends into the mist. The air grew cooler, wrapping around them like a woven cloak of anticipation. Each step took them deeper into the unknown, the mist swirling, almost beckoning them to turn back. Yet they pressed on, hearts beating as one, the light of their shared courage a flickering flame in the enveloping shadows. As they ventured further, the sounds of the forest began to fade. Instead, a soft whisper danced through the air, calling to them from the depths of the mist. It was a voice, melodic and soothing, yet laced with an undercurrent of sorrow. "Help me, please." Snow White paused, her breath hitching in her throat. "Did you hear that?" he asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The others nodded, exchanging glances of concern and curiosity. "Who calls to us?" asked the brave little squirrel, his tiny heart pounding as he peered into the swirling fog. "What do they need?" "Friendship," the voice responded, echoing sweetly, though tinged with desperation. "I am lost, trapped in a world of shadows. Only the pure of heart can free me." Though fear gnawed at her, Snow White felt an inexplicable pull toward the voice. "We must help whoever is calling," she said, determination igniting within her. "Together, we can face whatever darkness lies ahead." As they moved further into the mist, the air thickened with magic, and the shadows around them began to shift and swirl, revealing shapes that danced just beyond their vision. The figures morphed into echoes of those who had ventured before, lost souls wandering endlessly, their faces twisted in despair. Each step drew them closer to the heart of the mystery, and Snow White felt the weight of their stories bearing down on her. "Remember, my friends," she urged, glancing back at her companions. "We carry our light in our hearts. We will not allow the shadows to consume us." With renewed resolve, they ventured forward, intertwining their hands in a protective circle. Together they navigated the depths of the mist, drawn ever closer to the source of the haunting call. Little did they know, the very essence of their journey would challenge not only their courage, but the bonds of friendship that held them together, intertwining their fates in ways they could hardly imagine. In the heart of darkness, they would find themselves, and perhaps the true power of love, waiting to be unveiled. As they pressed deeper into the mist, the air grew thick with an enchanting fragrance, a blend of wildflowers and the sweet, earthy scent of damp forest soil. Snow White inhaled deeply, allowing the aroma to soothe her racing heart. Each breath filled her with the warmth of hope, which unfurled like a blooming flower within her. Around her, the companions mirrored her courage, emboldened by the promise of light that flickered within their hearts. "Stay close," whispered the gentle deer, her large, luminous eyes scanning the shadows, wary of lurking dangers. "Something stirs in the dark, shrouded in mystery and sorrow. We must tread carefully." Suddenly a soft rustle echoed nearby, a sound both inviting and foreboding. The friends halted, hearts pounding in unison. From the swirling mists emerged a figure, a ghostly shape draped in tattered robes that shimmered like starlight. Her face was obscured, yet an ethereal glow surrounded her, illuminating the path ahead. "Ah, dear children of the light," the apparition spoke, her voice a haunting melody that resonated with the echoes of forgotten dreams. "You seek the lost one, the one whose heart radiates warmth yet remains ensnared in shadows. Your courage is commendable, but be warned, what you find may test the very fabric of your souls." "Who are you?" Snow White asked, her voice steady despite the tremors of fear that danced through her. "I am the keeper of lost whispers," the figure replied, her voice softening. "Guardians of memories, lost and dreams forsaken. I have witnessed the plight of those who have wandered too far from their true selves. In this realm of twilight you will face the shadows of your past and the fears you hide within." Hesitation seeped into the group as they gauged one another's resolve. The brave little squirrel blinked up at Snow White, placing a tiny paw on her hand. Are we ready, Snow? What if the shadows reveal our worst fears? Snow White met his gaze, her heart swelling with love for her friends. We are ready. Together, she asserted, her voice steady as a mountain stream. We will shine our light, no matter the darkness we encounter. Our bond is stronger than any fear. The keeper smiled, a bittersweet expression that hinted at understanding and compassion. Very well, brave hearts. Follow me and let the shadows unfold their secrets. But remember, the light you seek is not always what it seems. As they ventured further, the mist began to part, revealing a grove bathed in twilight, a surreal world where trees twisted into impossible shapes and flowers bloomed in colors unseen by mortal eyes. In the center of the grove stood a shimmering pool, its surface as smooth as glass, reflecting both the beauty surrounding it and the darkness hidden within. The voice they had followed beckoned from the depths of the pool, now a haunting lullaby that resonated with longing. Come closer, pure of heart. Look within and see what you must confront. Only then can the chains of the past be broken. Trepidation filled the air, a fragile tension that enriched their surroundings with magic. Snow White took a step forward, her heart racing like a bird taking its first flight. Together, she whispered, urging her friends to follow her lead. As they gathered at the edge of the pool, the water shimmered in response, revealing fleeting images of their lives, moments of joy and laughter, but also shadows of heartache and regret. Each reflection seemed to whisper secrets, memories rising, like ghosts to dance before their eyes. The brave little squirrel gasped as he saw visions of himself trembling in the face of his fears, an abandoned nest, the specter of loneliness. The air grew heavy around him, and he fought against the swell of despair that threatened to engulf his spirit. Look deeper, dear friend, Snow White encouraged, her voice a gentle balm. These images do not define you. They are but fragments of what we've faced. We are here to support one another. With each voice of encouragement, the shadows began to recede, replaced by the warmth of their friendship. They peered into the pool. It illuminated a hidden truth. The essence of their beings was not just shaped by their fears, but also by their love, their dreams, and the bonds they forged in the face of adversity. Together, they whispered their fears aloud, breaking the hold the shadows had on them. In that moment, their voices mingled like threads weaving a tapestry of courage, binding them together in a radiant display of resilience against darkness. And just as hope began to take root, the waters of the pool roiled and shifted, pulling them toward a new revelation. The lost soul they sought would soon reveal itself, yet the full weight of the challenge lay ahead, demanding the ultimate test of their hearts. The shimmering surface of the pool rippled with an otherworldly glow, casting an ethereal light on the faces of Snow White and her friends. As they leaned closer, the reflections transformed, twisting into a vision of a grand castle, overgrown with ivy and shadows, where a sorrowful song echoed through the halls, a melody that called to the depths of their hearts. "Do you hear that?" the brave little squirrel whispered, his ears perked up with sudden urgency. "It speaks of a heart in despair, a soul trapped by its own sadness." Snow White nodded, the weight of their quest pressing firmly on her shoulders. "We must go there. The castle is a place of secrets, but we cannot shy away from what lies ahead. Together we shall face whatever challenges await." With determination igniting in their spirits, they turned from the pool, heading toward the edge of the forest where the path to the castle beckoned, strewn with golden leaves that crunched softly underfoot. The air felt charged, as if the very trees were holding their breath, aware of the trials that lay before them. As they walked, the forest began to change. Clusters of delicate white flowers bloomed along the path, their fragrance sweet yet haunting, as if they whispered the stories of longing souls. Each petal shimmered with a hint of magic, infusing their hearts with courage. Yet beneath, the beauty and undercurrent of unease swirled. The shadows grew deeper, and the trees loomed taller, their branches twisting like gnarled fingers, reaching out to ensnare them. "Stay close," Snow White said, glancing back at her friends, their faces a mixture of trepidation, "and we will face this together." Just as the castle's silhouette emerged on the horizon, the ground beneath them trembled, and a piercing howl echoed through the air. From the depths of the shadows, a figure emerged, tall and dark, with eyes that flickered like embers. The creature bore an unsettling resemblance to the forest itself, a warped guardian born from its deepest fears. "Turn back, children of light," it growled, its voice a low rumble that shook the very stones beneath their feet. This castle holds only sorrow, and you are not prepared for its darkness. But we seek to break the curse, Snow White replied, her voice steady despite the quaking ground. A soul is trapped within, and we cannot abandon those who suffer. We will not turn back. The creature paused, narrowing its eyes as if weighing her words against the weight of its own despair. Courage does not shield you from the darkness. Within, you will face trials that will test the strongest of hearts. Are you ready to confront what lies in the depths of your souls? Snow White exchanged glances with the squirrel and the doe, who stood firm beside her, their resolve shining like stars against the night. We are ready, she declared, the truth of her heart echoing in the stillness surrounding them. Together, we face our fears. Together, we shine the light of hope. With a low growl, the creature stepped aside, revealing a path cloaked in mist that wound toward the castle's entrance. Then enter, brave hearts. The shadows await you, but only through the trials will you find the light that guides you to the lost soul. As they ventured forward, the castle loomed larger, its once magnificent towers now draped in sorrowful vines. What lay ahead felt like a journey through a dream, each step into the unknown, dance between hope and fear. The air filled with the haunting melody, guiding them deeper into the castle's heart, where the real test awaited, veiled in the shadows of their own pasts. As they crossed the threshold, the door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit chamber adorned with tarnished mirrors. Each mirror held a reflection not just of their outer selves, but of the struggles they each faced within. Snow White took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest, for she knew that these reflections would not merely reveal their fears, they would challenge the very essence of who they were. "Stay strong," he murmured, reaching for her friend's hands, their warmth grounding her as the first mirror flickered to life, casting light upon the walls, a gateway to their deepest trials. In that moment, the air thickened with anticipation, and a shiver of magic danced across their skin. The true adventure was about to unfold, a quest not only for the lost soul, but for the very truth of their characters, where love, bravery, and redemption would be their unwavering guides through the darkness. As the mirror began to shimmer, its surface rippling like a pond disturbed by a gentle breeze, an image emerged, a vision of the forest outside, portrayed in vibrant colors that soon twisted into shades of gray. The haunting melody grew louder, echoing their heartbeats and urging them to confront the specters of their past. Snow White leaned closer, her breath hitching as she recognized the figure trapped within the glass. It was a version of herself she had long hidden away, a young girl with tear-stained cheeks lost in the shadows of sorrow, shying away from the kindness offered by those around her. "That was me," she whispered, a sense of familiarity washing over her. The squirrel's eyes widened, reflecting the pain of their shared history. "No one can take away the light of who you are now," he reassured her, his voice steady. "Remember how far you've come." Then, as if drawn by an invisible thread, the image morphed again, revealing the doe, her essence, intertwined with a past soaked in fear and longing. The whisper of her own thoughts echoed in her ears, haunting yet powerful, as the mirror revealed moments she had tried to forget, fleeing from danger, the heartache of leaving her family behind. I was so afraid," she murmured, recalling the moments when she thought she was alone in her struggles. Snow White squeezed her friend's hand tighter, a silent promise of solidarity. "You are not alone anymore. We will face this together." The mirror flickered yet again, now filled with a burst of colors swirled together in chaos, creating a tempestuous storm that danced before them. The visage of a figure loomed within, the brutish silhouette of the huntsman, his heart hardened by the cruel commands of the queen, yet revealing a glimmer of remorse hidden beneath layers of regret. "I chose to betray my heart," he spoke, his voice a low rumble filled with anguish. "In my fear of her wrath, I lost the light of my soul." "Redemption is always possible," Snow White declared, her voice resonating within the chamber. The warmth of her conviction wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. "You can choose again. We all can." As the last images faded, the reflections dissipated, leaving a heavy silence in the chamber. It hung thick with the weight of their revelations. "What do we do now?" the doe asked, her voice barely a whisper, breaking through the tension. "Now we move forward," Snow White replied, a newfound strength surging within her. "Our pasts do not define us. They shape us only if we allow them. We must embrace our truths and find the courage to heal." With renewed determination, they turned away from the mirrors, ready to face the next threshold of darkness, a doorway leading deeper into the castle, where shadows writhed and whispers beckoned. The air turned colder, and a sense of urgency pulled them onward. "The lost soul is waiting," Snow White urged, glancing back at her companions, their eyes reflecting the spark of bravery ignited within. As they stepped into the next chamber, it revealed a tapestry of shadows dancing against the walls, flickering like flames caught in a tempest. The floor beneath them trembled as if the very foundations were alive, struggling against the grief and despair that had seeped into the castle over the years. In the center of the room stood a pedestal upon which lay a heart-shaped crystal radiating a soft, pulsing light, the light of hope, fractured yet yearning to be whole. "Do you feel that?" the squirrel asked, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's calling to us." "Yes," Snow White replied, her heart swelling with purpose. "This is what we came for, but we must be careful. To touch it is to confront not only our own shadows, but the shadows that linger in this castle." With cautious steps they approached the pedestal, the atmosphere shifting around them. The crystal pulsed with energy, and the shadowy figures began to emerge from the corners of the room, echoes of sorrow and regret, remnants of those who had once thrived but now withered in despair. "Stand strong," Snow White called, feeling the burden of their mission resonate deeply within her. "We are here to bring light back to this place." As their reflections danced upon the walls, they felt the weight of the shadows pressing in upon them, challenging their resolve. "To save the lost soul, we must unveil our greatest fears," the doe whispered, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "In unity we shall conquer," Snow White affirmed, her spirit burning brightly against the encroaching gloom. And in that moment, they all stepped forward, hands intertwined, ready to face whatever darkness awaited them, determined to bring forth the light that would heal the castle and restore the love that had once flourished within its walls. As their fingers intertwined, a warmth blossomed among them, a flicker of the bond they had cultivated through their trials. The shadows writhed, twisting like smoke, but Snow White felt a presence amongst them, both ancient and familiar. "Listen closely," she urged her companions. "The heart of this castle speaks through the crystal. It knows our fears, yet it also knows our strengths." The pale light seemed to dance in response, shimmering softly, as if encouraging them to continue. "What do you see?" asked the fawn, her wide eyes searching the depths of the crystal's glow. "What lies hidden in your hearts?" "I see," the squirrel began, his voice a tremor of uncertainty. "The day I lost my family, the forest was dark, and the laughter faded. I fear the silence that followed." His small frame quaked, but Snow White stepped closer, willing the comfort of her presence to seep into him. "It's okay to be afraid," he whispered. "Fear reminds us that we cherish what we've loved. It is only through confronting our pain that we can begin to heal." The crystal pulsed once more, and the shadows aligned in a swirling vortex around them, coaxing forth memories long buried. Snow White felt the tug of her own past, a moment when she had thought she'd lost her mother's love, the whispers of the wicked queen echoing in her mind. "I fear betrayal," she admitted, her voice steadying as she shared her truth. "I fear that I may not be enough to protect those I love." At her revelation, the shadows momentarily stilled, as if waiting for the others to speak their truths. The doe inhaled deeply, her spirit fortified by the openness of her companions. "I fear that I am too weak to bear the burden of my friends' hopes," she confessed. "What if I falter when it matters most?" The squirrel looked to her, his eyes glittering with determination. "But what if you are stronger than you believe?" he countered gently. "What if we are all stronger together?" With a newfound sense of courage rising among them, the group pressed onward, their grip upon each other tightening. The shadows roared, attempting to drown them in doubt, but the heart-shaped crystal responded, its light growing more brilliant. Each pulse resonated with the strength they had discovered in their vulnerabilities. As the shadows danced closer, Snow White could hear the whispers of the lost souls, a haunting melody that tugged at her heart. "Those are the echoes of despair," he realized, her heart aching for those who had come before. They must be shown that their stories can be woven back into the fabric of joy. With a single nod from the doe and a determined grunt from the squirrel, they faced the swirling shadows head-on. "Each of us has a story worth telling," Snow White declared, her voice rising above the chaos. "We are not alone. Together we will reclaim this castle, this lost love, and breathe life into these forgotten memories." The shadows writhed violently, yet as their voices grew louder, a harmony emerged, a beautiful weaving of their fears transformed into strength. "We are brave! We are united!" they shouted, their voices echoing through the chamber. The crystal vibrated with their collective courage, illuminating the darkest corners of the room. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the heart-shaped crystal, illuminating the chamber in a radiant glow. The shadows recoiled, casting eerie shapes upon the walls, but at the center of the light they could see the outline of a figure, fragile yet majestic, a silhouette of the lost soul they sought. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" rasped a voice that felt like autumn leaves crumbling underfoot. The air crackled with tension, and the light shifted, revealing the sorrow etched into the features of a woman, her eyes pools of sadness, yet shimmering with the remnants of hope. "We come to restore what has been lost," Snow White proclaimed, her voice steady and clear amidst the chaos. "We seek the heart of this castle to mend the love fractured by sorrow." The woman's gaze flickered with recognition, a glimmer of warmth piercing through the veil of despair. The shadows, sensing their unity, began to fade, revealing intricate details of the room. Glorious. Murals depicting joyous moments from the castle's past adorned the walls, shimmering with a life force that had long been suppressed. The air hummed with energy, thrumming against their skin, as if the very castle breathed with them. "Do you believe in magic?" the woman asked, her voice softening, almost melodic. "Do you believe that love can conquer even the deepest of sorrows?" Snow White stood tall, her heart racing. "Yes, we believe, and we will show you that love is never truly lost." At that moment the crystal pulsed again, a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness, signaling that their journey was just beginning. As the light washed over them, they felt the shadows retreat, not vanquished but transformed, reminders of the past, now guiding them toward a future enriched with the strength of their bonds. With resolve unwavering, the companions stepped closer, ready to embrace not only their own truths, but also the truth of the lost soul before them, prepared to rekindle the love that once flowed within these walls, daring to dream of a brighter dawn. As they gathered around the woman, a profound stillness enveloped the chamber. The air, once thick with sorrow, began to shimmer with the promise of renewal. Snow White extended her hand, palm upturned in invitation. "Let us share our stories," she urged, "for in our tales lie the threads that can weave your heart back into the fabric of this castle." The woman hesitated, her eyes reflecting a tempest of emotions, longing, fear, and love intertwined like ivy on ancient stone. "What is there to tell? My heart has been locked away for so long that I fear it has forgotten how to beat," she murmured, her voice trembling like a fragile leaf caught in the wind. "Please," chimed in the gentle voice of the prince, stepping forward. His presence radiated a calming warmth. "We have traveled far and faced darkness to reach you. You are not alone in your pain. We have all endured our own trials. Together, we can light the way." The woman's expression softened, and slowly she began to recount her tale. "Once I was the heart of this castle, beloved by all. My laughter filled the halls, and my dreams soared like the doves that nested in the turrets. But envy, dark and twisted, crept into my life. A shadow, once a friend, became a tormentor. She sought my happiness and turned it against me, weaving a curse that would bind me in this state of despair." The shadows flickered, as if they too listened intently, drawing closer to the warmth of shared vulnerability. "I was betrayed, my heart broken," she continued, her voice thick with emotion. "Thus, I fell into slumber, hidden away, unseen by the light of day. But within me, a flicker of hope remains, that one day love would return, break the chains of my sorrow, and awaken me to life once more." As her story unfolded, Snow White felt the weight of the woman's grief, a shared understanding blooming between them. "You were never truly forgotten," he said softly. "The love you gave resides in the very stones of this castle, in the whispers of the wind that dances through the gardens. It is a love that yearns to be rekindled." Awash with determination, the companions joined hands, creating a circle of unity. "Together, we can restore the joy that was stolen," the prince declared, squeezing Snow White's hand for strength. "Let us ignite the flames of love, to dispel the shadows of despair." The room began to hum with energy, a resonance that echoed with each heartbeat, intertwining their hopes and dreams. Snow White closed her eyes, envisioning a world where love triumphed over darkness. "I call upon the spirits of this castle," she whispered, her voice rising in invocation, "to grant us the power to heal, Let the bonds of love break down the walls of sorrow. As she spoke, the crystal at their center gleamed, like a falling star, illuminating the chamber with an ethereal glow. The murals on the walls came to life, swirling in vibrant colors that mirrored the emotions shared among them. Laughter bubbled forth as scenes of joy and harmony danced in the light, a banqueting feast under a moonlit sky. Children spinning in carefree delight, and couples embracing as if nothing could tear them apart. The woman's eyes widened, tears shimmering like drops of dew, as she witnessed the essence of her lost memories returning. "I see them! I see the love that once flourished here!" she gasped, her voice infused with a newfound strength. Perhaps it is not too late." "Yes," Snow White urged, feeling the magic resonate within her. "Let your love, your story, intertwine with ours. Together we can break the spell that binds you." With renewed fervor, the companions raised their voices in an ancient song, a melody that echoed through the ages, reminding the castle of its glory days. Each note carved through the air, reaching deep into the shadows, coaxing them into light. The more they sang, the more the room pulsed with life, the crystal at its heart radiating warmth and promise. But just as the harmony reached its peak, a shudder ran through the ground, a rumble that spoke of lurking dangers. The shadows, stirred by the power of their unity, writhed and twisted, unwilling to yield to the light. They coalesced into a formidable figure, an embodiment of the woman's tormentor, the betrayed friend, now transformed into a dark specter, her eyes alight with fury. "How dare you attempt to reclaim what I have seized?" the specter hissed, her voice a chilling blend of beauty and malice. "You seek to awaken the heart of this castle? I shall not allow it." As the room filled with foreboding, Snow White stood her ground, determination igniting within her. "We come not to conquer, but to heal. Love cannot be claimed. It must be shared. You too are a part of this tale. Your heart deserves to be free." The specter faltered, momentarily swayed by the sincerity of her words. But darkness clung to her, whispering deceit and despair, urging her to resist. Yet in that moment of hesitation, the hope blossomed like a flower, pushing through the cracks of stone. The companions, united in their purpose, locked eyes, ready to fight not just for the woman before them, but for the very essence of love that echoed throughout the castle. With hearts entwined and voices raised, they would face the shadows together, illuminating the path forward, for they knew that only through love could the curse be broken and the dawn of a new beginning arise. As the specter loomed closer, her form twisting like a serpent in the dim light, a palpable tension enveloped the room. The sounds of their song began to fade, replaced by the chilling silence of dread. Snow White felt her heartbeat echo in her ears like a distant drum, thrumming with both fear and courage. The other companions stood, resolute by her side, their expressions filled with the same blend of determination and trepidation. "Can you not feel it?" Snow White implored, her voice carrying a sincerity that hung in the air, urging the specter to listen. "This castle was once filled with laughter, with bonds forged in love. And trust, you were part of that joy. You still can be." The specter hesitated, her features flickering like flames caught in the wind. For a brief moment, the anger in her eyes softened, revealing the woman she once was, the friend betrayed, the heart shattered. In the depths of her sorrow, a flicker of recognition sparked. "You know nothing of my pain!" she shrieked, her voice a tempest of anguish and fury. "They turned their backs on me. I was left alone in the darkness, and now I am the darkness. But you are not alone anymore." A voice broke through the turmoil, a soft and gentle, cooing like the whisper of a breeze. It was the little bird, perched bravely on the windowsill, its feathers ruffled, but its spirit unbroken. "Join us. We have all faced our shadows. There is strength in numbers. Together we can find the light, even in the darkest of places." The specter turned, piercing gaze toward the bird, her brow furrowing as memories stirred within her. "You speak of strength, yet I have only known betrayal and rage. What can a mere song do against centuries of hurt?" "More than you can imagine," another companion chimed in, stepping forward with a resolute heart. It was the wise old owl, his eyes glinting with wisdom accrued over many moons. "It is not the song that holds power, but the heart behind it. Love is a force unlike any other. It can mend what was broken and restore faith in even the most fractured of souls." With each word, the companions wove a tapestry of hope, their voices uniting in harmony once more. They sang of forgiveness, of healing, of the rebirth that comes from embracing one's pain instead of succumbing to it. The spectre swayed, caught in the pull of their melody, her darkness flickering like candlelight in a gentle breeze. "Join us!" Snow White called out, her eyes locked onto the spectre's. "Let the past be your foundation, not your prison. We all make mistakes. We all suffer. But if we face our shadows together, we can mend the brokenness that threatens to consume us." The spectre's form trembled, the shadows retreating slightly as Snow White's words resonated deep within her. "What if I am not worthy of this light?" she whispered, her voice cracking like brittle glass. "But you are worthy," came the chorus of voices, each filled with an unwavering belief. "We all are. The very essence of love is flawed and imperfect, yet it thrives in our willingness to accept one another wholly, scars and all." As the last note of their song lingered in the air, the spectre faltered, her resolve wavering. The darkness surrounding her began to dissipate, revealing glimpses of the woman she had once been, a vibrant spirit, a friend, a soul yearning for connection. With a deep, shuddering breath, the spectre raised her hands, a gesture of surrender. "Then, let us try," she murmured, the malice in her voice giving way to a poignant vulnerability. "Let us break this cycle together." In that instant, the castle shuddered once more, but this time it was with the promise of transformation. The once oppressive shadows began to retreat, swirling away like mist under the sun, revealing forgotten colors and textures that had lain dormant. A soft golden light began to seep through the cracks, illuminating the room with a warmth that felt like the embrace of the dawn. Snow White and her companions stepped forward, hands interlinked, forming a circle of unity around the spectre. Together they breathed in the light, feeling its warmth pour over them like a gentle rain, washing away the remnants of sorrow. In that moment they became not just allies in a quest to break a curse, but a family forged in the fires of understanding and shared pain. And as the shadows melted away, hope blossomed anew within the castle walls, heralding a dawn that promised not only healing, but also the rekindling of love that transcended even the deepest wounds. They knew that though the battle was far from over, they had taken the first crucial steps towards a brighter, more united tomorrow. The golden light began to swirl around Snow White and her companions, wrapping them in a gentle embrace. It danced through the air like fireflies in the twilight, illuminating the corners of the castle that had long been shrouded in darkness. As warmth surged through their hearts, laughter bubbled forth, a sound so pure and joyous that it echoed off the castle walls, revitalizing every cobwebbed nook and cranny. The spectre, now tinged with a gentle glow, looked down at her hands, which were slowly shedding the darkened remnants of her past. "Is this truly possible?" she breathed, her voice trembling like the wings of a newly formed butterfly. "Can I really be free?" "Only if you let go of the chains that bind." "You," replied Snow White, her eyes sparkling with determination. "We are here to help you find your way back. Together, we can reclaim what has been lost." As they stood there, a sudden rush of wind swept through the hall, stirring the dust that had settled like a forgotten memory. It carried with it whispers of the castle's past, echoes of laughter, love, and the vibrant life that had once flourished within these walls. With every gust, the spectre's form shimmered, and for a fleeting moment the outlines of her former self flickered into view, a radiant woman clad in white satin, adorned with flowers in her hair. "Is that truly me?" she gasped, a hint of recognition lighting her eyes. "Before the darkness took hold?" "Yes, that is you," said one of the dwarves, stepping forward. His face, usually so jovial, was now marked with empathy. "You were a beacon of light, a source of joy. You still can be." At that moment, a soft melody began to rise from the depths of the castle, a hauntingly beautiful tune that spoke of loss, longing, and the hope of redemption. The walls vibrated with its essence, each note lifting the heaviness of grief and despair that had clung to the air for so long. "Listen," piped up another dwarf, his eyes wide with wonder. "The castle remembers. It has not forgotten the love that was once here." Emboldened by the music, Snow White took a step closer to the spectre. "We can rebuild this place, restore its beauty, and in doing so, heal ourselves. But it starts with you. Will you join us in this endeavor?" The spectre hesitated, her brow furrowed in uncertainty. "What if I fail again? What if the darkness returns? Then we will fight it, together," Snow White reassured, her voice steady and warm. "You are not alone anymore." With a deep breath, the spectre reached out, her fingers trembling as they intertwined with Snow White's. In that moment, a spark ignited, a pulse of energy that coursed through them both, weaving a tapestry of trust and courage. Suddenly, vibrant vines began to snake along the walls, sprouting colorful blooms that burst forth like confetti in the wind. The air became saturated with the scent of lilacs and lilies, as if the very essence of hope had taken root. The spectre looked around in awe, tears of joy glistening in her eyes. "It's beautiful," she exclaimed, her voice now filled with newfound strength. "I can feel the warmth returning." Just then, a shadow flickered momentarily at the edge of the room, like a forgotten whisper seeking to reclaim its hold. The group turned, eyes wide with apprehension. The spectre's expression hardened, the hint of darkness creeping back into her features. "I thought I was free," she murmured, fear creeping up her spine. "It's a test," whispered one of the dwarfs, his gaze steady. "We must remain united. The shadows will try to divide us." "Together!" Snow White shouted, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade of light. "We confront the darkness. Together!" As they stood hand in hand, the spectre found herself anchoring her fears in the strength of her companions. She felt the warmth of their hands, the shared heartbeat of their hope, and the echo of their laughter bolstering her resolve. One by one they raised their voices, singing a melody that resonated even deeper than before, a song of defiance, of love, of the unyielding bond that transcended fear and doubt. And as the chorus grew louder, the shadows began to stir, coiling and writhing like serpents, but they were now met with a radiant light that pushed back against the encroaching darkness. With each note, the spectre felt the chains of her past loosening, the weight of her sorrow lifting. The dark figure loomed larger, but it faltered, hesitant in the face of the united front before it. "We are more than what has been taken from us," the spectre cried, her voice now a thunderous roar that harmonized with the others. "We are the sum of our love, our courage, and our will to rise." With one final surge, the light erupted forth, shattering the darkness, scattering the remnants like stars across the night sky, and within that radiant glow, the spectre, transformed fully, her former self shining through as the castle blossomed around them, walls painted with vibrant murals, gardens blooming wildly, and laughter echoing like a joyful prayer. Together they had taken a significant step, not just towards breaking a curse, but towards forging a new beginning, one filled with love, acceptance, and the promise of healing.